Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our short little training today. So as some of you may know, we did some pocket PDs for 12 days in December that just reviewed some short tidbits of information that we get a lot of questions about and that never really have any trainings for those. And so what we did following those pocket PDs was we decided we wanted to try to kind of build some trainings into our schedule that went over some of those things with you guys and kind of gave you an opportunity to really explore some questions with the trainers about those things. So for today, we're going to be discussing the house system setup in PBIS Rewards. And without further ado, thank you first of all to the people that shared and told us where you guys were from. It was nice. It's a nice way to kind of find some connections, when you're asking questions like that. We saw that Anna's got some friends there from Katy, Texas. I got me a friend here in South Carolina. So it makes it really nice just to see and make some connections there as far as to where we are located. And we also have some people here from New York representing. Did I miss a state? I think that's the only states that were shared. Andrea, so. Where's your state from? Also Texas, right?
Katy, Texas.
All right.
There you go. So we got lots of Texas, South Carolina, and New York up in here today. And so let's go ahead and get started and rock and roll here. And we're going to begin by introducing ourselves. It's a good way to kind of start any training, right? So my name is Adam Eford. I am a professional development educator here with PBIS Rewards. I come to you guys with 12 years of experience in education. I kind of started as a resource teacher, as a music teacher, and then moved into the classroom and to teach reading for 4th grade. And then counseling and administration to kind of end my career there before starting with PBIS Rewards. I do have a son. He is an 8th grader. So any of you guys that are in a middle school setting, hats off to you. I can only imagine if I get him and a friend here, I feel like my house is going to fall apart. So I can only imagine how you feel on a day-to-day basis. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to turn it over to Anna and let her introduce herself to you guys.
Hi, everybody. I'm Anna Michaels, and I'm joining you from Fort Worth, Texas today. And my education background is a little over 20 years in education. I was a 6th grade teacher, and then I was an administrator after that. But this part of my career with PBIS Rewards has just been so rewarding because we get to meet so many people from across the United States and across the world. And we're just so thrilled to be here with you today. And especially this topic has really become pretty popular lately, this house system and how to make that work with PBIS Rewards. So we're happy to be able to share that as an option with you today. So we hope that it's helpful for you. And also, Adam and I feel like we're going to get you out of here pretty quick. It's not going to be a whole hour, so you get some time back, which we know no one's going to hopefully be upset about that. So we hope that it's helpful for you today.
All right, guys. And so with any training, either that you provide or that we provide, it's always important to kind of go over your expectations. That's keeping with the PBIS method there. You always want to review those with your participants or your students. So, we kind of keep it pretty simple, be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. So obviously try to keep your microphones muted if you're not sharing. There's a small number of us in here today. So by all means, if you have a question or a statement or you want to share some feedback with the group, by all means, feel free to unmute. I promise Anna and I are not going to be upset if you interrupt us. We are perfectly okay with that interaction. Try to be open to some new ideas. Obviously, if you've never used this house system setup, it's going to be a relatively new topic for you. So be open to kind of how that flows and what that looks like and the purpose behind setting up those house systems. As far as being responsible, just try to pay attention to what's going on and keep PBIS Rewards content up on the screen. As Anna said, this is an hour-long training, so you will be, you're more than welcome to get that hour-long PD credit there. But we're going to do our best to try to get you out of here as quick as possible today and share with you as much information as we can regarding that house system setup. And then of course, let's share the air, so if other people are trying to chime in, let's let everyone kind of share this Zoom space, if you will. And then finally, as far as being safe is concerned, we just want to make sure we're sharing relevant ideas and staying engaged with what's going on. And above all, please, please, please do not be scared or afraid to ask any questions you may have. As I said before, once this training is over and we hit that stop button on the recording, if you have any questions, feel free to stick around. Anna and I would be happy to help you out, even if it's outside of that house system setup. We do have, and we tell people all the time, if you have questions, if you're like me, I got a notepad right beside me almost all the time, so I can write down questions and things of that nature. If you have a question and you don't want to unmute, or you don't want to interrupt us during that time, and again, we welcome you to do that. But if you don't, you can always put that question in the chat, and we will answer that either in the chat or we'll answer it live. So without further ado, let's jump right into the meat and potatoes of everything. Harry Potter made that house system kind of very popular, right? If you grew up anytime around when I did, and we're going to leave that there. But if you grew up with Harry Potter, you know that Gryffindor and Slytherin and Hufflepuff and all that was so popular. And so a lot of teachers in recent years have started to kind of divvy out their classrooms in much that same way. Now I've seen that done tons of different ways, ranging from, if you're teaching about different types of animals, maybe you have a mammals group and an amphibians group and a reptiles group, or what have you. So I guess the big point around this is it's a way to kind of set up and organize your classroom to kind of teach your students a little bit about group work and collectively earning some points together. I think for me in my school, this was a very popular way just to get those kids to kind of create a goal together and work to meet that goal. So just like, we kind of give our students goals for academics, very similar thing here. We want to give them some goals to kind of meet from that behavior standpoint. So there's a few ways you can really go about doing this in the system. The first way is to create an artificial student. So you would create a student and name that student, and then as kids were earning points, you would put those points in there for the group. And then at the end, then the students obviously would get that many points themselves. Another way to do that is to create a student group. And then finally, a combination of a little bit of both of those. So we're going to kind of walk you through that through this PowerPoint today. You will be getting this as a resource so that you can kind of use that, to remember what we kind of discussed today. All right, so let's start by discussing where do you go in the system, right? And so if you look here on the screen, you'll see that this is the home page for PBIS Rewards. Anytime you log in, this is the screen you should see. And if you will scroll down on the left-hand side there's an option here that says students. So you're going to click on that option that says students there. And if you are currently logged into your PBIS Rewards, by all means, you can do this with us. That would be fine. So once you select students there on that left-hand side, it should populate a screen that looks like this, that has all the students at your school located, or at least all the students you have access to see there. So the first thing you want to do is you want to click that little green plus at the top left-hand corner. As you may have figured out over some time now, that is that little green plus is a great way that PBIS Rewards likes to let you know that you're adding something in. So again, let's click that plus sign right there. And when you click on that, it's going to open up a blank screen like this that will allow you to name your group or whatever you're adding in there. So for today, we're going to just call that red group. Of course, you can call that whatever if you're going over, like I said before, if you kind of have your room set up in a group kind of with a group kind of approach, You can always change these names to whatever you want there. Just know that it's going to ask you to put in a first name and a last name. So be prepared for that. If you're creating a group that's mammals, you might want to put mammals and then maybe a dot or something like that for that last name so that it lets you go through. Once you do that, you're just going to select and fill in all this information. A student ID, it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be a real student ID, guys. You could just put in 1, 2, 3, 4. And as long as you don't have a student on your campus that already is number 1, 2, 3, 4, that shouldn't be a problem. But you can just create any number to put in there. And then for gender, of course, you want to just put an X because, you know, you're probably going to have some boys and some girls in your groups. If not, if you're doing it, you know, groups based off gender, then by all means, you can certainly divvy that out and choose the correct one. And then you're going to choose your grade level, ethnicity, if you so choose. Make sure that it is marked active. That just means that that student is capable of earning points in PBIS rewards. And then once you have that information filled out, you can click save here. You can also add a photo in there if you so choose to kind of create a photo. Just to kind of show you what that looks like, if you create that photo, you would select that button right there. And from there, you're going to choose whichever, you know, whatever image you want. I do want you to know if you're adding an image into the system that it has to either be, you have to save it in a JPEG file format. And then that, the way you save it, it needs to either be with the first last name. So in the case of us, our first and last name was Red Group, as you can see. So whenever I save this file, as you can see right here, I saved that file as Red Group, right? So you want to make sure you save it as that. Does anyone have a question? Great. I saw a hand, I wasn't sure. And so, another way you can save those is by saving it by that student ID. So you could always save it as 122421, which is the student ID I created for that, which was just Christmas Eve. So you can do it either which way you want. But once you click on that little button right here, and it opens up for you, you're going to select the image that you want to use and then select open. Okay, once you do that, it should populate that same screen and it should show you the image that you're putting in for that group. So again, really simple, easy way. All you're doing is really creating a student in PBIS rewards, and then you're going to use that student to kind of give points out. So from that home screen, once you have created that student or that group of students, very simply, just like you would search for one individual student from the web portal or from the app, it will work in either case. You would just simply type in Red Group here. So once we type in Red Group, and as you can see, this is a new group, so obviously they don't have any balance that they've accrued so far. But once you do that, you can easily come in here, search for that group. And once you search for that group, you can give out points by selecting the expectations that the group is meeting. And then once you do that, there'll be a button at the bottom here that says reward 1 or reward 2, or however many points you've selected from those expectations. So again, just a super simple way to kind of get your students to kind of work together to get some points. Anybody have, before we move on to the second option, does anyone have any questions here about how to set up that artificial student? Awesome. All right, Anna, you want to take over?
Sure. So let's talk about the second option, which is setting up a student group for a house. So you would kind of do the same thing. You would go to groups, and then we would set up a new student group that would be that house that you're set up. So there on the groups page, we're going to come right down there. Again, that green plus sign means you're going to start something new and starting a new group. So clicking on that green plus sign, it's going to give you the option to create a new student group. Now, You can do this to start a new house like we're talking about today. If you wanted to start a new student group, let's say for an after-school tutoring group, or maybe you're the speech teacher and then this is the group of students that you see first thing in the morning for your first class, you could create a group for anything. It would go through the same process. So you can enter the group name, whatever you want to call it. And then for the subject options, it has a drop down there for you, and you could pick a subject that goes with it, or there's always an option that says other. The only one we want you to be really careful about is the one that says homeroom/advisory. A student can only belong to one of those. So just make sure that that's probably not the one that you're selecting. But once you've decided on those two things, go ahead and click that save button, and then your group will be created. And this is what it looks like, kind of a blank group. But right there in the center, you're going to add students by clicking that green button. And then we're going to start adding that student group there. So there's that red group, and I can add that student to that group of students that I have, and along with all my other students that are there, so that they all belong to that one student group. So that when you award points to everybody in that group, that student group can also receive those points. So you know how many points that student group has as well. And so teachers can also award points to that student group. So there's that same student that we just talked about, that red group student. You can add them to that group. This is that third option Adam's going to talk about, is combining those two things.
All right, so I kind of walked you through how to create an artificial student that you can put in the system, which is, as you see right here. Anna discussed with you how you can create a group, and then and that way you can award just those specific students in that group. And again, if you're a teacher that is really big on doing group work or separating your kids into little groups in your classroom, this is a great way. I've seen this be very successful in schools. But then, of course, you know, we always get asked that question, is there a way to do this? Is there a way to do this both of these ways? And of course, there is a way to do that. So, you know, as you can see here, we've got a classroom kind of set up, and we've got that one group in there. You know, the way you can do that is by adding, let's say that you've got 4 groups in your classroom. You could just add all 4 of those as students here in the classroom. And then at some point you would just move those points over to this for the students. The other way with the group method, you know, you would just put your students in groups and they would show up on your groups page. Just a quick reminder, anytime you add a student to one of your groups, that means they have access to see your individual teacher store and events and raffles that you might create, or drawings, whatever you might call those. And so just to kind of give you a little heads up there. So as Anna just discussed with you a moment ago, there is that option when you're creating that group. So as you can see, this is the groups page over here on the left-hand side. We would click on groups, and then from there, obviously it's going to pull up and show us the different groups that we have there. So as you can see, we've got that red group added in, and everything's easy peasy with that. Do we have any, before we move on, do we have any questions about in either one of those methods? Great. So as we told you, we're going to do our best to kind of get you in here and out of here and make sure that you've got the information. And so we're going to just kind of wrap up here and show you some helpful resources, just to kind of give you something to kind of hold on to and kind of refer back to in case you forget anything we discussed today. We have all been in trainings where, you know, you're there and you're present. I know some of you guys probably have classrooms in front of you right now. So again, thank you for being here with us today and joining us for this quick little training. So let's start by where do you go if you're feeling a little bit lost in the system? And this can be for the house system setup. this can be for if you're, trying to remember how to set up an event. It doesn't really matter if there's something in the system that you don't really understand or you're having trouble kind of navigating around. You can always come in here into the system, and on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little button there that says show me how. So if you've never used that feature, it's pretty awesome in that it will literally give you some basic questions that we have, some basic topics, how to create an event, how to create a raffle, adding items to your school store, that's those kinds of things. But then of course, it gives you the option up at the top to where you can type in your questions. So for example, if you want to know about the house system setup, as you can see, that is not populated as one of our general topics, but you can always type in house system setup up at the top here, and it will show you any articles or videos that we might have to support that house system setup. And I can tell you there is a support page, an article on how to do that house system setup. If you need a little bit more guidance, maybe those videos aren't for you, or you find it hard to navigate that way, there is what we call the panic button up in the top right-hand corner that just says help. And so if you click on that, that will take you to our support page.
Adam, we have a couple of questions that have come up in the chat over there.
Sure.
The first question says, are house points added to individual student reward points?
Okay, so when you create those houses, guys, if you're doing it, depends on which way you do it, quite honestly. If you do it the way where you create an artificial student, then those points won't just roll over to the student, okay? Because think about it, when we created that red group a moment ago, that means we created a brand new student, right? So anytime you're giving points to that red group, it's going to go to that student you created, right? So at some point you would need to, if a lot of times teachers kind of let students create a goal for that group or whatever. So maybe they're trying to get, maybe there's 4 people in that group and they all want to purchase an item that's 25 points from the school store. So then what you could do is, have those students collectively decide which of the items do we want, and then you would just take it out that balance for that group. Another way we've seen that done is, let's say you use that student, and then at the end of each week, they would move the balance over to the students, if that makes sense. So like on a Friday, for example, after you've given out points all week to the group, on a Friday, you could say, all right, the group has earned 30 points. And so then you would just give 30 points to each one of the students in that group, if that makes sense. And then Anne asked if an administrator can set up a house system school-wide. You could do that. I guess like if you wanted to make like kindergarten, the rainbows, and first grade, the bears, or something like that, then of course you could do that. As a matter of fact, Anne, I think that might be a really good way to reward points to students in the building for an administrator. I can tell you, Anna and I both were administrators in a school, so we certainly understand, wanting to get out there, be visible, and give those points out to support the initiative. So I'm favorable to you doing something like that. I think that would work out very well for you. And just like I told the teachers, like on a Friday, you might want to convert it over. I would imagine you could probably do that on a more of a monthly basis. So maybe when you have faculty meetings, you can say, all right, my kindergarten rainbows earned 20 points this week. I'm going to give every kindergarten student 20 points, or this month, I'm going to give every kindergarten student 20 points in the system. So it's just a way to kind of keep track of those points if you're trying to pass it out in a group style. Great questions, guys. Any other questions we can answer for you? All right, so jumping back to this support page, this support page has lots of information. And when I tell you it has lots of information, I mean, there are articles posted for just about everything in PBIS Rewards. So I see I got a Oh, thank you, Anna. Anna shared a resource there with you guys. That's that support page that we're talking about right now. Just so you know, it will ask you to authorize yourself or for authentication. And all that is you just need to log in to PBIS Rewards to utilize that. Obviously, since this goes into a lot of detail about the PBIS reward system, it's kind of password and username protected there. We do also offer here some guides and frequently asked questions to kind of help you out if you need some additional assistance. And then, of course, one of my favorite places to go is this video section. There we have a lot of our trainings that we've done recorded for you. And then there are shorter videos that kind of go over individual topics in PBIS Rewards. And then, of course, there's this Learn series right here. When you click that, that Learn button, it's going to pop up all these different planets. We call this our Explore series. And it's kind of separated into two different phases. So phase one would be more of a basic PBIS rewards practices, you know, those raffles, events, stores, groups, badges, those basics there. And then phase two would be more of those add-on features, such as check-in, check-out, sale, ARS, those basic things. But what would happen if you come in here, you would click on these little planets and it would take you and tell you everything in the system about whatever topic you choose. So if I chose ARS, it would show me how I could go about configuring my advanced referral system and how to customize that and exactly how that works from a teacher standpoint and from an administrator standpoint. Finally, if you need a little bit more assistance, maybe you just need to speak with someone, there is an option on that support page that says chat with PBIS Rewards, and that will link you with someone on our support team. These are real people you are talking to. We get asked that question all the time. Are those bots? No, they are real people. And there is a phone number listed for you on the bottom of that website that Anna shared with you as well, in case you wanted to reach out and speak with someone via phone. So we kind of try to keep ourselves open to you in several different communication paths. So there's an email that we will be providing you for us in case you have some questions, and we'll give that to you here in just a second.
Okay, we also wanted to give you a special invitation to our Facebook user group. If you are not a member yet, we would love for you to join us. Is there anybody that is already a member of our Facebook user group? Oh, nobody yet. Oh, hey, thanks, Adam. Oh, Brian, woohoo. Okay, awesome. So it's just a great place to connect with other users of PBIS Rewards. We have lots of people that share great ideas in there or just ask questions and get wonderful responses from other users. The one question that has really kind of blown up lately is, what are some good incentives for middle schoolers? And I think this morning when I looked at it, I think it had 27 answers. So a really great way to network with some other people. And then we also take some of our newest ideas to this group as well. So we would love for you to join us there on Facebook and keep that connection with us in between these trainings. And then our training calendar, you guys did a great job signing up for this session today. Our new sessions that are coming up for February should be posted any day now. They are definitely coming up soon. We are going to have lots more coming up in the next couple of months, but we also have office hours. We have those twice a month. If you have not signed up for one of those sessions before, it's basically a 20-minute session with the PBIS Rewards trainers. And it's a special time just set aside for you so that we can help you troubleshoot or work through things. We can provide resources for you, and we can really dedicate that time to helping you. Absolutely free. So please don't miss out on all of those different trainings that we're offering for free, and also those office hours. So that link, Adam, thanks for putting that over there. And that's a great one to kind of check back on and make sure that you are up to date with those different things that we're offering.
And I just want to piggyback off what she just said about those office hours. You know, oftentimes we have users that have, a ton of questions and just wanting to understand a little bit more about the usability. But in a training like this, they didn't feel comfortable saying, hey, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, or walk me through. Just so you know, when you sign up for those office hours, that is an individual time just for you, right? So I'm just going to use Candace as an example. Sorry, Candace, you just happened to be on my screen and I'm seeing that island breeze over there. And so like, let's say Candace had some questions about how to reward points in the system. And again, she didn't want to ask that question to everyone in the group. It would be very easy. She would sign up for that. And when she came in, she would either get 1 or 2 trainers to kind of walk her through. And so it's just an individual 20-minute session that you have to just focus on your questions and what you might need some more guidance on. So I always like to encourage people to really sign up for those office hours, because it's a great way to kind of get your questions asked without having to ask that in a group of people that you may not know. So just know that is there for you. And again, you can access that from that training calendar. We do have office hours coming up on the 25th, I want to say, of this month. The last week here in January, there is a set of office hours. So just wanted to let you guys know that.
Okay, and then this is also a great location. If you have not been here to our resource page, we have tons and tons of different resources available to you, not only PowerPoint resources, things that we've covered that way, but also lots of print resources and things that you can send out, templates, recordings, all kinds of things. So please make sure to take this link and save that, because we're always adding things there and updating it, making sure that those are things that are useful for you and helpful with PBIS rewards. All right, go ahead.
I got you. And guys, as always, anytime we do a training, we always want to get a little bit of feedback to find out, how did we do for you guys today? Is there anything you felt like we could have done better? We certainly tried to get you out a little bit early here, so we accomplished that goal, if nothing else. Kind of get you out. It's about 20 minutes early. There is a QR code here on the screen. Feel free to take a picture of that with your phone. Thank you, Anna. Anna also shared with you that link that you can click on there. And it's just a quick little survey that asked about our training today. As Anna said before, and I want to just encourage you yet again, please sign up for that Facebook user group. They're going to ask you 3 questions. Make sure you answer all 3 of those questions, or the system will automatically decline that your acceptance into the group. Of course, you can always redo it, but make sure you answer all 3 of those questions. They're very simple questions that you can answer there. And again, like she said, this is a great place for you to just air out with other educators. We are 1,500 members strong in there. And it's just a great place to kind of get some insights on what's going on. So, if you work at a elementary school and you're looking at ways to improve behavioral practices, throw that question out there, and I promise you're going to get some feedback. All of the PBIS Rewards trainers are a part of that group, myself and Anna included. So again, if you just ever run into a pickle or you don't know what to do, this is a great place for you to kind of air that out. So we welcome you to join us there, and we hope you found this training helpful today. We're going to throw some music on, and if you have any questions, just feel free to stick around. And other than that, thank you for joining us today. We wish you nothing but success in this new semester you guys are starting, and good luck out there, guys.
Yeah, we hope to see you in future trainings. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Let us know what we can help you with. Thanks. Have a good one.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Sure.
When you were doing the PBIS points, can you look them up like we do at school wide, and we have houses and all that? Can you look it up by house by week, or is it only an overall? Like we do every Friday, we announce like the overall point leader, which house is the overall point leader.
Right.
But it's like the same house is, the kids are getting like frustrated because the same house is the leader, you know, like they're kind of almost too much ahead. So we thought about doing a weekly leader. Can we do that
Sure.
in PBIS?
Sure. What you would do when you log into the system, let's see. Let me log in here.
Yeah, I was looking at Adam, I'm already there. Do you want me to share my
Yeah,
screen
sure,
on
please.
reports maybe? Is that what you're
Yes,
thinking?
that's what I was going to suggest.
Okay, yeah.
There's an option on the left-hand side, Andrea, that says reports.
Let me just go back
And
on.
when you click on reports there, it's going to open up for you, and there's a points report. So what you would want to do is you would want to do a points report there for a child. And it should give you an option to do a points report by student.
Mhm.
So you would click points report by student, and then this is where you would look up, you would do a custom date range for that week that you're talking about. And then, you would probably, I would probably do it with, specific students. I wouldn't do all students there. You most certainly should, because I would assume if you got a house system set up, the houses probably have a lot more points than the individual students do. So you could really look that way. But my biggest suggestion for you here would be to just look up that house, so if I'm looking up the red group, I would just literally type in where she put in Mia Baker. I would type in red group or mammals or whatever, however you have that set up. And then you can pull a report that way to see how many points those groups have accumulated. Does that make sense, Andrea?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Sure. Yeah, that should be able to give you that. All right, thanks. Have a good one.
Bye, Andrea.
Okay, well, ooh, no, you're still here?
We're here.
Okay, good. That's what I was interested in doing, exactly what Andrea is doing.
Okay.
As far as, I guess a house system school-wide. So I guess, is that what she's doing? And then when teachers are awarding points to their groups, they're tallying for that whole group in that whole house. Is there some, I mean, I don't want to take up your time, but is there like something is there a document or something that I could read to see how I could do that school-wide?
Sure. Give me just a moment. I can send you a resource that talks about how to set up a house system.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then does that make sense also, Anne, with that pulling reports like that, if that's something that you're interested in?
Yes, that's exactly, because our school, we've been using PBIS Rewards for a number of years, probably about 6 years. But I do kind of feel that the interest is kind of waning a little bit, and this will be great to kids love novelty and teachers do too, and this would be a great way to just kind of infuse the excitement back into it. And then after kids get so good at doing something, maybe the teachers aren't awarding because they're doing the things now, and you see what I'm trying to say?
Right, as the points kind of fall out, you still want to keep your students engaged. We get it.
Exactly.
So my suggestion would be for you, I think the house system setup is a great way to kind of just bring all that back, give them something new to look forward to, really. I shared with you there's a support article that'll take you through and let you know how you can kind of go in and do that. Anna's kind of got the system kind of pulled up here in the back. I would highly encourage you. As I said before, I shared a training calendar with you guys here, and I'll share that link again for you. If you're working on getting those houses kind of set up, let's say you're doing that in the next week or two, and you feel like you need a little bit more assistance with that, I encourage you to sign up for some office hours, because that will give you some one-on-one time with us, just to kind of we can go into your system and look in your system and just make sure that you kind of got everything working right in there. You've got your groups created, and kind of walk that way with it. But I mean, most certainly, if I were you, the way I would go about this, Anna, if you would please go back to the main menu. And so if I were you, I would go to groups, and I would create my groups here. So like if you're trying to do I don't know how you might want to divvy out your houses, but let's say you wanted to create a red group, a blue group, a green group, and separate those for grade levels or whatnot. It would be just as simple as coming in here, selecting that plus button, and then as you see Anna doing here on the screen, and then clicking save there. And then once you do that, you can go in and you can add students in to those groups. So like if you were, let's say the red group was kindergarten, you would just go in and make sure all of kindergarten was added in. I know that seems like a lot of work at first, but once you get that set up, then in the future, that would always be set up. So, and one good thing about using those colors instead of like, calling them, the rainbows or something like that. When you use that color, like let's say moving into next school year, if kindergarten was red group this year, obviously first grade next year could be that red group. So it kind of keeps, keeps you kind of running along, so you don't have to keep adding in as much every year. So that would be a great thing to do.
Okay, so when I do my school-wide groups, I could actually just go to all groups and just pull each one of those homerooms in, or would I have to do by individual student?
When you create a group like this, you kind of have to go in with an individual student approach. I don't think it doesn't give you does it give you an option to upload a CSV, Anna?
Not here, but our support may be able to help you do a workaround with that. And I bet if you contact them, they can help you take that information you already have in PBIS Rewards and help you create those grade level groups.
Okay.
I bet they could help you do that because you probably have that data is already in there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to, of course, recreate
the
it.
all user group. So I couldn't just move just homeroom groups from.
Right. Yeah, you can't just move them,
groups.
but
Gotcha.
there's probably a way that our support could help you.
Okay.
And also, if you see where Anna's at right now, she's on that groups tab. And then if you look where it says grade levels, there's a drop down there for the grade levels.
Yes.
Okay, so this your system will automatically sync that up for you and separate your kids by grade level. So if you're separating your houses based off of grade levels, and it sounds like that's what you want to do, I probably wouldn't even go about adding them as a red group or whatever, whatever you're going to call it. You could always come in here and award those points just for those grade levels. So for example, if Anna would click on grade 5 here, that's going to pull up every 5th grade student at the school. And you can favorite that group by selecting that star, as you saw Anna just do there. And then when she clicks on that group, it's going to pull up every 5th grade student that we have. Now, I want to point out to you that this is a demo school, it's not a real school. So obviously that's why you're not seeing any 5th graders in there. But obviously at your own school, it would populate all the students that you have there that are listed as 5th grade students. And I don't think it gives you an option to rename that group there because it is a grade level group. But if you're assigning points to grade levels, that's a great way you can kind of do that without having to do all that work on the back end where you're adding all of your students in there one at a time. You could just tell the students that they are the red group and kind of come in here and see how many points you've awarded to kind of say, okay, this week the red group got 40 points and the blue group got 20 points or what have you. Andrea that was in here a moment ago, she was just talking about how they do which group has the highest points, and they kind of advertise that on morning announcements and things of that nature. That's a great thing you can do. It really kind of helps to build that desire for more points from your students.
Okay, and that's exactly what I want to do. But I'm gonna ask another question.
Go for it.
Do you feel like, okay, so we have a school store, our Tiger Mall. Do you feel like would that make students not want to redeem their points? Or can we pull a report that's just we pull reports based on points earned anyway, right? Okay, so never mind that question then.
So
I
as
was
long as
thinking,
they've earned it,
would-
as long as they've earned it,
Yeah.
then it should still show up that they earned those points, even if they spend them. I
Gotcha.
will say, especially in an elementary school setting, you're gonna have to really explain that to the kids because they're not gonna understand that as much as say, my son in 8th grade understands money, how to work money. So to him, it's all money to him, but to a little kiddos, those kindergarten and first graders, that's not going to make the most sense. So just let them know it doesn't matter if you spend your points. We're just looking to see how many points you've earned all year, and that's really what we're focusing on. So feel free to spend your points. That's not going to, knock you out of the race. And they just need to hear that. I would say just make sure that you let them know that.
Okay. This sounds good. I appreciate this. I definitely do.
Absolutely. And like I said, if you start working on this, I mean, it's Friday. I doubt you're going to probably do a whole lot with it today. But if you jump into it this weekend or sometime next week and you've started creating these groups and you're thinking, I'm getting a little bit lost, I don't know what to do, by all means, come back to where you registered for this training and register for some office hours. And, you'll probably end up getting me and Anna anyway. And then we can kind of walk you through and look at what you have and help you kind of edit what's in your own system to kind of get it going the way you want it to go. And we can actually log in as you, so we can see everything from the back, from your side and what you're seeing, and help you get all that stuff worked out and figured out in case, and we can even link you up with somebody in support to see if we can make that a little bit easier of a process for you as well.
Okay, and I do definitely appreciate you all's customer service and support, because every time I've needed anything, I mean, you all were right there, walked me right through it. I've even had I've even worked with someone that did log in as me and looked at the problem and fixed it. So I mean, it's awesome. I definitely appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
You are so welcome.
All right, well, thanks again. And